Hello and welcome to BonkTable. I'm Mass and this is another Conquest battle report. Today I'm once again, and until Adepticon, just playing horses. That's really it. I gotta get the practice in to make sure I got stuff covered and the people who are going to Adepticon can know what I'm doing and be like, ah, I know all his strategies and so I can lose better. Oh my god. But today I get to play into a Wadrhun Blooded spam list, where my opponent was like, I just want to flank on all the blooded. I'm like, alright, horse first orc. Let's find out how that goes. So here's my list. I'm not gonna go super hard in this. There's earlier battle reports you can watch that explain this. But anyway, Horse Lord 2, Steel Temple Boogaloo. That's what it's called. We got Mountain Noble Lord, Speed of Horse Supremacy for more impacts, and reroll 6s on the impacts for all the Household Knights. 2 units of Veteran Mounted Squires MSU, 2 units of Household Knight MSU with free banners, so they're all running around. Mounted Squires are kind of just running around getting in the way, setting that line of engagement, and if they're lucky, get into the flanks. I did it this game, but it's kind of funny how I did it, so I'm gonna keep going that way. Household Knights, great objective scores, great chaff units in the all-horse list, great anvils. Like, for what they're doing in their point cost at 140, they're great just to get in the way and like let someone like punch into them, because how do I say this? They're an MSU, what's like defense 4, like through the shield, resolve 3, 4 wounds. They're pretty quick, so they're getting places really fast, and if they go into a chaff burst chaff fight, or like something that can't really do a ton of damage, like, you know, like your bound clones, your hoplite block, or your legionaries, they'll just, you know, hit each other and kind of poke at each other until a side wins, and that's fine. If they go into something like a unit of Sentinel Incarnates, or I don't know, Dragon Slayers, they're just gonna die. So, you know, pick and choose your battles. Next warband, we got a Prior Commander, Steel Temple. He's a warlord. He's got that first blessing for bless on all his guys, and if you already got bless, Ashen Dawn, you get harden or attack 1. Yay! He's running 2 units of Order Steel Temple. Nothing too crazy there. Fluid formation, fantastic. I use the maneuverability of that to my advantage a lot in this game. I've been starting to like really rotate a lot of my regiments more, and setting up, I call them clap traps, because they look like kind of bear traps, and they're gonna like spring shut on somebody once they enter the middle. And I'll kind of point those out when we play the game, so that you can see them better and where I'm setting them up and why. Lastly, we got our 2 5 blocks of Ashen Dawn. They're Ashen Dawn, really good, really solid. Kind of get all the work done in the list, do all the heavy lifting. They only actually clashed once this game, what's kind of surprising. So the lesser list can do work, but I really like it just that because they're defense 3 to 4 with the shield, they really keep a lot of attacks and a lot of chaff just kind of stuck in and fighting, and then because I'm faster on my horses, I can get on zones, what allows me to score and outscore my opponent. And that's really it. That's really what I'm trying to do. And if I need to do that punch up, I got Order of Ashen Dawn to do it. So I'm just going to slow my rules, and you can pause the video at any time to just have a look at them. Alright, let's go to my opponent's list. Here's my opponent's list, MSU Dinos. If it was me, moi, I would rename it to Blooded Spam, or Blooded for the Matron Queen. Man, you could do some other stuff with the Blooded Matron Queen, but we will not get into that. So he's running Matron Queen, got to the last breath draw event, what heals up a regiment within 8 of her. I believe everyone's within war, except for the Apex, what's going to be, you know, doing Bellowing Roar for Conquest. She's got Cleave 1 and Inspiring Presence. I believe, I don't know what that does. Where is it? Eyes. Tribal Spear. Jeez. Inspiring Presence, where you are. They gain Bravery. Okay, cool. Didn't know that. Didn't matter much. So, Kiss of the Dillosaur. Ah, man, I gotta figure out what this does. I read all these before I did this, and then I totally forgot. So we're doing good. Here we go, Kiss. Enemy regiments and character stands with 3 rolls, successful defense rolls caused by the character. That's pretty good. Tribal Spear, you get +1 attacks per chant marker. Not terrible, not great. You kind of want to be chanting a bunch, so it's really weird when she attacks and you still have chant markers in the pool. This was usually generating my opponent 1 extra attack. Nothing else much kind of going on there. I guess it's more for dueling, but if you can get 2 in the stack and not have to chant at 3, you can get 2 extra attacks. You know, it's there, but not the super best. Long lineage for 2 relics, combat 1 and 2, so she's a little bit more tanky, getting more attacks, doing some damage. Sweet. She's also got cleave 1. Then my opponent is running 1, 2, 3 units of Blooded with Standard Bearer and Tracker. He played a game where he basically failed all his reinforcement rolls, and vowed to never fail another one again, and he just put flank on everything. So he's got 3 units of Blooded here that are all just coming on the table turn 2. He's got a Chieftain with Wasteland Adder. He's got combat 1 and 2, so you know, he's a little more tanky and more attacks. He's under war. Mantle the Devote gives Fanatic to the regiment he's in. Violence of Action is Flurry to the regiment he's in. He's going to be sitting with those vets, so they're going to be auto coming on because of Wasteland Adder, because that gives them flank. Standard Bearer Champion. This is a lot of MSU spam. Fortune Battle just gives you like an extra chant token when they get drawn. The Chieftain is the Warlord, so he's putting shock on everybody, which is really good. Then he's got, oh look, Blooded with Standard Bearer and Tracker, so there's 4 units of Blooded just flanking onto the table with the veterans, so that's 5 units. Yay! We then got a unit of Thunder Riders. Sweet, MSU. They're not like super buffed up, but they will do a nice punch, especially with shock. So if my opponent uses the Blooded right, he can set up kind of Chaff getting hit, Thunder Riders following up, maybe getting into the side of stuff, or hitting them maybe still in the front, but in the side, you know, kind of like getting those attacks in there, getting that shock and that brutal impact too. That'll really hurt my defense, especially if he gets on the side, because he'll be ignoring shield. Oh, he has line break. Who the fuck cares? He's ignoring shield anyway. So getting hit by Thunder Riders just puts me down to defense 1, so I really don't want to get hit by those guys, and I kind of want to deal with them as quickly as possible. Then he's got a Predator who's got War. Kill marks is +2 impacts on with a monster. He didn't put away the Hunt, so I just gave him Cecil's Hunts because I think that would be probably the best one. It's fire in advance, so sometimes you just got to move your Apex up, shoot with it, and then back up, or, you know, move around. He's running unit of Raptor Riders. I don't know, they're Raptor Riders, and he's got his Apex. So Raptor Riders have kind of been falling off by the looks of it since the start of version 2, as more and more stuff has come out, like Tauntor, Thunder Riders, going up against like Ashen Dawn, into whatever the hell Dweg's doing with their castles. Like, I just been finding Raptor Riders haven't been pulling their weight as much as they used to before, and they're too expensive, especially he's got that Huntress, so he's at 210 points. Like, it's a lot for a light regiment, and if it's not outputting, that's kind of wasted points. That could be something else to be more effective. How much is another unit of Blooded? 165. See, you can grab more Blooded. just more Blooded. But yeah, that's kind of my really thoughts on there. I don't have a huge amount to say about the list overall. It's on the table really effectively, what I do like just having all your mediums come onto the table doesn't make it feel like it's falling behind, what's really nice. Having consistency in your game is a really good one. His 2 hard-hitting units are the Apex and the Thunder Riders. He has enough chaff with the Blooded to kind of take hits from horses and then follow up with the Apex and Thunder Riders, and then throw more chaff in front to defend them. So you can do it. And I think there's a bit of viability in this list. I just think my opponent needed to play it a little better, and as we get into the game, you'll see why. So I'm going to slow roll his rules, and we'll get into the game. Pause the video at any time if you want to read something. Alright, let's go to scenario. Alright, here's a scenario today. We're playing Forlorn Hope. I don't mind this one, especially with the changes that were done from the previous scenario packet to this one. I do like that the zones are closer to the middle, sitting on that 18-inch line, and with the objectives. This does make it so that opponents really want to hunt down their objective first and quickly. That is a terrible line. Let's read. Come on. There we go. Did it. So yeah, usually people will hunt down and kill their objectives, so that opens up that middle space a lot more. That's terrible. Just gonna be one of those days. And then, you know, they kind of go off onto their zones, and then there's usually a big battle right here, where people kind of push in and see who can take that third zone to get the bonus points to score to win. Killing enemy characters is also a nice little extra VP thing. I don't mind that one at all. So usually when I play this, I go and kill my objective first, and then I kind of cascade out and start scoring the other zones. So I'll use my lights to kill the objective, and my mediums will be running towards that zone. And once the lights wrap up the objective, they will start pushing out forward. And I'll just kind of like poke at a side. If for some reason my opponent is a little slower getting to a zone, let's say on the left side here where the smaller zone is, they only run 10 inches or 11 inches, and I got fast horses, I might just try and run and toe onto their zone to kind of, you know, score. I'll use green. I'll score like 1, 2, and 3, which will get me a bunch of points, and then with the horses I'll back off of this zone. I'll just run all the way, and I've got those points scored. I can set myself up to do another like attack into him or put him on the defensive because now he's behind in points. But that's kind of how I play this scenario, but I do like the changes that have been done with it. So let's go into the table and I'll talk about that. Here's the table we played on today. We got our objective markers. So these are neutral objective markers, and we just circled them in purple. So both me and my opponent can score them. For terrain, we got some broken ground right in the middle. We got obscuring and broken. We've been kind of going pretty hard on broken lately, but I don't mind. It's better than hindering. Funny thing though, every time I go through a piece of broken, I roll a 6 on at least one of the stands that went through, and I take 2 damage because I'm cavalry, and I'm just like, well, fuck me, I guess. Good job. But I just accept my fate and go on with it. We got, nope, that's wrong color. Here we go. Water. So, you know, -1 clash on those. And then we said size 2 houses because these are kind of like little huts. I don't mind the houses here because they disrupt the lanes, especially as bad. Especially right here. So you kind of have to like run up, and then with your regiment, you're kind of going to be charging it into the side. What's going to leave you exposed right here. And that can cause your opponent to follow up and hit. Let's say they were there. They can hit you in the side. So you got to be really careful with that one. I don't mind it. It's really easy also to get 2 regiments onto it. If you had 2 shooting regiments, you could just park them where that first square is. I'll just like hatch it in orange. Like, no, it's blue. Right there. Boom, boom, boom. You just sit there and shoot at it. You're pretty safe back there to get in and just shoot at it. And then you can kind of, you know, push forward. I'm running a lot of horses and melee lists, so I got to look at keeping myself safe, but also taking it out. Not a huge ton. We're really compact in the middle here, but do remember you do have all this space like here and here to flank in and around your opponent. So like, you know, send something up here and get into the side of this battle if the line of engagement is drawn right here. I'll just use that dash. So if those guys are fighting right there, remember to just kind of get in and flank. You got plenty of room to do that, so go do it. But with that, let's go to turn 1 and see how the first steps of the game go. Alright, here's turn 1. My opponent gets his 1 light on the table. What's the Raptor Riders? Doo-doo-doo. I got my 2 mounted squires. I win the roll off. First thing I do is I run a unit of mounted squires up. I check the line of sight of this objective, and I'm going like, yeah, I kind of want to flank it in the side. That's fine, because I'm thinking of putting both my mounted squires into the side of this regiment, or not this regiment, this objective, you know, just like charge into it. My opponent then runs up his raptors and just kind of like reforms them like so. He's looking to get into the side / front of that objective. This objective, I believe he is touching kind of like that. So he gets to choose. So I then run up my 2nd regiment here on the left. further forward and angle it a bit so that I can see if he goes for his objective, and I can also see mine. So it's kind of like, okay, if he charges and gets into the side here, I'm going to charge him. Cool. If he then charges and let's say goes into the front of his objective, I can go and charge my objective and probably kill it with both units of mounted squires and hopefully get unimpacted of the 6 in there, do the 3 damage, go on my way. But I'm setting myself up to like counter whatever he does. I don't need to run that far forward. I'm deploying a lot of... I don't need to use my full 19 inches. I can set myself up to be successful and out of threat ranges, even though I'm somewhat faster. And that's a little bit of me just playing the list over and over again, is finding those proper places, because I believe the last game I played with this, I ran mounted squires like 19 inches forward, got shot up by Vanguard clone infiltrators, didn't like that. Now I'm being more cognizant about it and aware. But that's really turn 1. Let's go to turn 2. Here's turn 2. So things are go on. I get 2 units of Sealed Temple and the prior commander, he's over there, and a unit of House of Knights. My opponent brings on Blooded with Queen. Let's put a Q over there. Vets. Let's put a V with the Chieftain, DC. So things that go first. I play character, my opponent plays character, we kind of, you know, do that little bit of stalling out what happens in the early parts of the game. That's fine. I eventually go and I say, hey, I'm going to get my Household Knights up the table. So I run my Household Knights up. They run 14, 15 inches with the banner, and because Rias was like, hey, if you're on the parallel of the zone, and touching it like that, you score it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take advantage of that, and so I'm on it, so I'm scoring the zone. Sweet. Then my Sealed Temple go. I kind of just run this guy up here. They just go up there, I don't know, 16, 17 inches, whatever the hell it is. It's like 8, so 16 plus 1, 17. There we go. Fluid Reform, get myself that angle, because I'm starting to really do angled moves to help myself up more. And you'll see it as the game goes on. I really set up these like claptraps, as I'm calling them. So they just sit there. It's fine. During this time, my opponent is just running straight at me. He's like, this blooded will go, and like this blooded will go, and he's just, you know, going forward, trying to take up space. He has plenty of room. My opponent doesn't really use like this and this to his advantage. He has plenty of space to widen himself up, and he kind of gets a little tunnel visioned into the zones here, and they're not that huge. Like these, I'll circle them in green. Like these 2 buildings really separate your deployment, and you can see how I'm going wider while he's kind of getting crunched up and just doing layer lines. And I'm 100% okay with that, because he'll hit some of the Cav, House of Knights, Sealed Temple, get stuck, I can stall him out, I can contest and score my zones while he's trying to kill my stuff to score his. I take a point lead. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. However, my Sealed Temple are in the zone, so I'm scoring it. Sweet. I think that's 4 points. Yeah, that's going to be 4 points for me. Then we kind of get on to the objectives. So I'm just going to draw a green square right about here. So the unit on the right here of Mounted Squires that I kind of put a dashed red line through, they just charge it, do a point of damage, they clash it, do another point of damage down to 1 health. Sweet. My opponent, we talk about it, he swings his raptors into the front, keeps himself safe from my Mounted Squires. I'm like, okay, well, I can't really get to you at this point. It's not really a good charge to try and like march charge you. I'm going to take my objective and just set up for later. That sounds great. So, Mounted Squires, you know, they charge into the objective here. They kill it on the impacts. I just declare a reform and just reform myself like that, looking to get into those Raptor Riders who just did 1 point of damage. So I'm like, okay, he's kind of stuck on the objective. He's trying to use those Raptor Riders to slowly kill it. Not a bad spot for them to do something while he gets his Blooded in the way and starts scoring his zones. But I know the Raptor Riders are going to be on that objective for a while, so I can try and hit and kill the Raptor Riders while they're killing that objective. So if he kills the objective and I kill his Raptor Riders, good for me. If I kill his Raptor Riders and he doesn't kill the objective, even better for me. So we're looking for the second one, but I'll even take the first one because it's less stuff he has. And that's really it. So at this point, I'm up 4 points. My opponent doesn't, he's just running all his stuff up. He's starting to gum up on himself, and it's just kind of going to get a little bit worse as the game goes on, because I'm going to start gumming him up hard. Let's go to turn 3 and find out how that gumming goes. Here's turn 3. So, a couple things happen to start. I get a unit of Ashen Dawn and House of Knights with the Noble Lord onto the table. I have another unit of Ashen Dawn that are just sitting in reserve still. I'm okay with that. That one unit of Ashen Dawn is really going to be countering the Apex, as you can see on the table. They're across from one another. And I'm really fine with that positioning because that's kind of where I want to be. So, things that I look at first. My opponent, I believe he wins the roll-off. He clashes into the objective, does another point of damage. I'm like, oh, okay. I start moving House of Knights around. So this first House of Knight unit right here, they just set themselves up just over the lip of the zone. One of the stands is touching the water, but 2 stands are out, so I'm currently not going to get affected by the -1 clash if someone charges into me. And they're just going to set themselves up like that. Okay, cool. I think like card 3 or 4, my opponent deploys the Apex and he starts running down this way. So I'm like, oh, okay, he's going that way. Sweet. I reform the sealed temple that were here, and I just kind of shimmy run them over here. They like do some wheels, they mess around, and I'm kind of going back over there because I'm out of the way of the Ashen Dawn. I'm not threat projecting into his stuff, so he's not going to get like startled or scared of me. And I'm kind of getting my Ashen Dawn to a spot where they can just go forward to do work. I can easily reform the sealed temple to then go this way if I really need them, or to go into the zone if I really need them, and that's kind of what I want. I want choices and options. Next thing, what do we got here? I believe the sealed temple on the left eventually go. My opponent runs his Blooded here into the zone. He gets 3 stands on it, so he's scoring it. I'm like, okay. He did that kind of early on, and I'm like, okay, so my sealed temple here on the left, they're not going to try and like sneak in and score that zone. That's fine. I'm just going to set myself up to counter it so I can charge into them. My opponent then runs these Blooded up into the way. So, you know, whoever's going to go first is probably going to do that fight at some point. All right, that's fine. My Mounted Squires, after those 2 units of Blooded have gone, charge up and go into the Raptors, as you can see. They charge through the broken terrain. I take some damage. Yay. You can see how excited I am. And they get into a fight with these Raptors. I kill a stand, and I think there's a couple wounds on that guy over there. Good for me. That's fine. The other unit of Mounted Squires, I look at it, and I'm like, well, you guys can't really do anything because you were here. So I just reform and then march through the terrain, and they get to where they are. And this, I will do it in purple. This is a claptrap. So you can kind of see it here. I'm just going to draw it on purple, and then I'm going to get the teeth, and this is why I'm calling them claptraps. So this is a really basic way to engage and not, I don't want to say disincentivize, but like hurt your opponent. If your opponent charges any of the 2 regiments, the other regiment will charge into your opponent. I'm in a strong spot. If they charge into the House of Knights to try and kill them to get into my zone, they're in water. If they charge the Mounted Squires, they're not in the zone, and I can just hit them with House of Knights. So either way, I'm going to be in an advantageous situation, and that's kind of what you're trying to set up. So that's why I call it a claptrap, because no matter what side he picks, he's getting hit by the other. And yeah, that's really it. This is kind of like, a lot of people talk about this, and they just kind of look like claptraps, and that's why I'm calling them that. I gotta have my dumb names for stuff. But this is, you know, someone charges into you, and this is how you countercharge, is you set it up. So both these regiments are benefiting off of each other. Stuff what happens next. Veterans, they are kind of stuck behind these Blooded. They can't get into the Mounted Squires. There's not enough space. They're 4 wide, and there's only like a 2.5 wide space in front of the Mounted Squires. They can't really get into the zone either, or hop those Blooded, because I think they just ran like 8 inches up. So they're kind of stuck behind, what's not really good. These veterans probably could have been the front, like where those blood are, the veterans could have been there. They're a better anvil. And then my opponent could have ran that unit of blooded, you know, wider to just kind of get in. Yeah, they're blooded, they're infantry, but still it's, you know, kind of like horn of the bulls. That's the strategy where I will just draw it here. Like you got your, that's a nose. You got your bull head, here's the ring. And then you got the horns, that kind of go out like this. Kind of looks like a butt, but that's fine. And then you encircle your opponent like that and you kind of hit them to the side. It's a very, it was called that from, I believe, Shaka Zulu, some African warfare for you. That's where I learned it, and it's kind of an development strategy. And that's how it goes. So, he had plenty of guys to do that with, and he scrunched himself up too much, as you can see. And it's not doing very well for him because he's stepping on his own toes. On the right side, you know, Thunder Riders, blooded with Queen, more blooded. They're walking up into the zones, but I'm in a good spot. I've killed my objective. I've scored early on my 2 zones here, so I'm up points. I don't have to worry. I can kind of drag this game on to turn 10. But I'm setting up, he has to come into me, and I'm giving him really bad options to come into me. He also scores his zones, and that's it. So we both score 4. Let's go to the next turn, what I believe will be turn 4, and find out who gets hit where. Here we go. So, things that happen. My opponent kills his objective. I'll just put a green square right here. He kills that. Sweet. I stab the raptors and kill them all with 2 activations. You can kind of see that right there. Like, his raptors are dead. Both units of mountain squires went in and killed them. His blooded here charged in and got this guy down to did 1 point of damage, killed the other 2. I rally and clash. They're like did some damage. Sweet. On the left, I got the roll off in 1. His blooded right here got charged by Steel Temple and died. Good on me. And why is there a bit of damage on there? Oh, they're not dead. Undo that. There is still 1 stand, a blooded right here. But I've kind of neutered them down. In response, my opponent just shuffles over his veterans so that he can get into that fight later. In response to that, I just keep marching up and reforming my House of Knights so that I can pick if I need to go into this fight or if I need to support Steel Temple on that fight. But right now, veterans aren't getting into Steel Temple because they're in a fight with some blooded. House of Knights are getting set up to countercharge. Things are going good over there. Not too worried. Raptors are also dead. They took the objective. That's fine. Opponent goes up 3 points. I'm okay with that. Raptors are dead, and I've broken through the middle, and now this unit of mounted squires right here that I just put a red line through, they can start doing weird stuff. Perfect. On the right, I charge my House of Knights, who would end up here, into my opponent's blooded that were sitting where the Thunder Riders are. Killed all the blooded. The opponent hops his Thunder Riders into the House of Knights, kills the House of Knights. Sweet. In response, Steel Temple reform, and I set up another claptrap, as you can see. Boop, boop, boop. I'm just gonna put the lines and the how was it? Ashen Dawn, Steel Temple. You know they're setting up for a claptrap because I'm looking like, okay, do I need to close in on these Thunder Riders? Where's this Apex going? He leaves the Apex up and he just uses the Predator to shoot into Steel Temple. I'm fine with that. Take my wound, go on with my day. I deploy my last unit of Ashen Dawn right here. I was going to be countering his Thunder Riders and Apexes with my Ashen Dawn because those were the 2 work units in his army. I probably could have got away with deploying the Ashen Dawn on the left here. I'm just going to make a big square. That would have like sweep that side really easily, but I'm kind of okay with what's going on with it right now. I just need to get the drop on at least one of the the Thunder Riders or the Apex, and currently I'm set up in a good position to do so. I do call this turn as my Supremacy turn. What's why the Steel Temple on the left don't... Do I tell this my Supremacy turn? No, I call next turn as my Supremacy turn. Yeah, okay, so it's next turn I do it. But you'll see how that kind of gets a little messed up and how my opponent counters me. So good on him on that one, but let's go to, I guess, next turn and talk about it. But really quick, you know, score. Sweet, we both score 4 points each. I'm still up by 4. Let's keep her going. Next turn, talk about my supremacy. Okay, here we go. So I declare this my supremacy turn. Things that happen is that I charge these Thunder Riders, who are right here, with the Sealed Temple. I hold my bless. I do enough damage with impacts to kill and wound one of the Thunder Riders. I then use my Clash and I kill off the rest of the Thunder Riders to the man. Really sweet right there. And I hold the bless defensively. My opponent then charges me with the Blooded and the Queen. Use my bless defensively. I only take 3 wounds, lose a guy. I'm in a really good spot. Sweet. My opponent on the left here uses his Blooded, fights Sealed Temple. They bless defensively. I believe I still lose the guy though, but he rolled all his hits. Then I Clash, kill off his Blooded, and then I just back up. And then I Fluid Reform so that I can set up another Claptrap. And, you know, House of Knights just move up more, setting up myself to, you know, hit my opponent if he comes in. This is a really weird fight. His Blooded are getting like 8 attacks into this one Mount Squire. This one Mount Squire is getting like 5 attacks and he's Blooded. They're just kind of going back and forth. He's like doing 1 or no wounds a turn. I'm amazed that this guy's still living and they're just stuck there. And I'm like, yep, that's fine. You could stay there. I'm happy. I'm not scoring or contesting that zone, but I'm not having to deal with any of his stuff over there. And I can pick off his things at my leisure. But that gets me to these Mountain Squires over here. They, because my opponent ran his Blooded up into the Sealed Temple, their front arc missed them, and I could have charged into the side earlier with the other Mountain Squire unit, but I missed it. So I just do a wheel, and then I just charge into the Blooded's butts. I believe my opponent saves all those rolls. He's using War really well to add defensiveness, resolve, a little bit of cleave to his guys, what's been working out really well for him. And, you know, they're there now. Got a Queen heal if they can live long enough. It's fine, but you're getting attacked by Opportunist Mountain Squires, Sealed Temple to the front. This is not really a good spot you want to be. Ashen Dawn in the zone. They're setting up to, if the Sealed Temple die, charge into the Blooded, charge into the Apex. You know, they're setting up to, like, keep pushing that flank there, but one of the big things they're doing right now is scoring that zone. My opponent, realizing that he's not going to score the zone where his Queen is, double marches his Apex over, touching it, adding 3 more stands, scoring that zone. Except he is now stuck if he wants to charge me, because he will wheel and hit the back end of his Blooded unit. I'm seeing this, I go, okay, sweet, and I just double march up my Ashen Dawn right in front of the Apex because he can't get to me. Like, he can if he wants to march over and then charge me, but at that point, I don't care. Like, I'll take your impact attacks, and then I'll just, like, whack you in the head and kill you. So it was a bad move from him to prevent the Ashen Dawn to get from him, because I wanted to get the drop on him with the Ashen Dawn first. And I've been patiently waiting that out the entire game, and this is the point where I can now take advantage of it. So watch yourself out with your monsters that you don't hit the back end of a regiment that's engaged with another regiment, because it's really easy to do that. And I've seen it a couple times from opponents. Like, yeah, they can kind of get in there, they're more maneuverable, but they still have to follow like how charging rules work and all that other stuff. So yeah. I don't know what turn this is. I think it's like 6. I'm going to say this is 6 and we'll go on to 7. I'll figure it out, but for scoring, we once again all score 4 points, so we're staying consistent, but because of that early scoring, I'm still in the lead. We haven't killed any characters yet, but that's going to change really soon because I've kind of chewed through all his Chaff-Blooded and now getting into the meat of his list. So I'm going to call it turn 7, so let's check it out. Okay, I was wrong. This is turn 6. Okay, cool. So, after figuring that out, I believe my opponent gets the... Does he go first? No, I win the roll to go first. No, sorry. He wins the roll to go first because he charges his veterans, this unit, into my Sealed Temple, kills them all, I'm like, yeah, okay. I draw my Ashen Dawn, charge into the side of the Apex, just rips it apart and kills it. Then my opponent has, I believe, this Blooded fight go on. Or, yeah, he has the Queen go. Yeah, sorry. He has the Queen go who was trying to heal the Apex. He's like, oh, the Apex is probably going to take damage. And it's like, Apex is dead, so it didn't take any damage. Can't be healed from death. So he declares a duel. I look at it. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'll do it. I do 2 damage to him. He does 4 to me. I'm like, oh boy, this is why I don't duel. Sealed Temple go. They do some damage into them. Blooded go. They do some damage into Sealed Temple. I rally and clash with them so they can still score. And then the Mounted Squires in the back, you know, just finish them off. Opportunist really helps a ton, kills them off. Sweet. This fight still going on. I think I have like 1 or 2 wounds left on that Mounted Squire, but he's doing it. He's stabbing. It's so dumb. Realizing that the right side is done for, these Ashen Dawn just rotate and start marching. They are on the edge of that zone, so they score it. Sealed Temple scoring. Hellsoul Knights charge into the veterans in the side. I am in the water right here. I'll just do a W. So I'm -1 clash. Really sucks. However, I still go for it. I do 2 stands worth of damage, breaking them. I got a bunch of horses in there. Let's find out if horses in water can do anything. The answer is usually no, but I will take this fight as I go. However, my opponent's not in the zone and I'm scoring it. So there's my 3 zones. I get the bonus. I go up 2, 4, 6, plus 3 from controlling 3 to 9. This is where I start really running away at the score, and my opponent only scores 2 for that. At this point, we probably could have called it, but we kept playing anyway, because, you know, let's play the game. Let's close her out. So now we're going to go to turn 7. Not a whole lot's going to be going on. I'll just talk about kind of some of the moves I make and all that stuff, so let's, you know, get through it all. Turn 7, let's go. Here we are, turn 7. Opponent wins the roll-off. Combat reforms the veterans. Clashes the Hellsoul Knights. Hellsoul Knights rally, clash back, do a little bit of wounds. He declares a duel. I decline a duel. I draw my character. I break myself. Ashen Dawn, just run up the table, get into the zone more, because those Hellsoul Knights are probably going to die. Fine with me. Still scoring the zone. Sweet. Mountain Squires and Ashen Dawn here, they just reform and start running this way. Cool. This fight still going on. I think that Mountain Squire's down to 1 wound at this point, but he's actually now starting to kill off stands of Blooded. It's really dumb. And the last one is right here. So I'm scoring both these zones with this 1 unit Sealed Temple. So I reformed, shuffle marched, got 1 stand on each zone. That does count for scoring in the tournament packet. It does not count for scoring in the base rulebook. So the tournament packet, because that's what we're playing, overrides the base rules in this case. So 1 regiment can score multiple zones if they can touch it. I'm just using the rules to my, like, what they say in the rulebook. If you think it should be different, contact Parabellum Rules at parabellum.com. I don't know what their actual email is. I have it posted in various points, or you can just go on their website and you can shoot Leo a message and ask him if that's right. But that's come down from Reese. Like that's legal, and that's what it says in the tournament packet. So it's like you can do it. Sweet. But at this point, once again, scoring the 3 zones, 9 more points. My opponent is still scoring the zone, but next turn he's either going to die to Hellsoul Knights, he's going to die to Ashen Dawn, he's going to die to Mounted Squires. Here's turn 8. He wins the roll-off. Vets clash into Hellsoul Knights. Hellsoul Knights die. Hellsoul Knights, Mounted Noble Lord, gets his die fighting, kills the Vets to the man. Both are dead. Sweet. So I've scored his characters. He scored one of my characters. And it's my turn. I draw a Mounted Squires card. I declare it to be this unit. I charge my opponent in the side, do impacts, do opportunist attacks, kill them, wipe them, and we call the game there. So, yeah, let's go check out that end score and see how it was at the end. So here's the score. This game does end on turn 8, but we didn't count the points because it was very obvious. My opponent ended at 21. I ended at... Ooh, what the heck is this? I can do math. Carry the 1. 43? Yeah, it looks like 43 to me. So we didn't add up the points for scoring on turn 8. This is at the end of turn 7. It's fine. It's not a tournament. It's not like I'm trying to clock up and win anything. But let's kind of talk about the game. So first things first, my opponent had enough chaff. He had the flank to have everything onto the table at the same time. He could have spread himself out more and set up his own charges and counter charges like I was doing, set himself up to rotate. Yes, his stuff is slower because it's only March 5, so it kind of goes up, like if you double march, it's only going 11, but you have a ton of it, and you can use that to your advantage, because we talked about this game at the end, and it was very much like, I was setting up one-on-one head-on fights, what I want to do. You had the opportunity, well, he had the opportunity. He had the opportunity to get around into my side, loses my shield, makes me reroll resolve. Like, there's a ton of advantages, and he could have killed all my chaff horses easier and more effectively if he spread out more. He only needs to have more stands in the zone than I have stands in the zone. So, like, his 3 stands would have done it, even if it was contesting. And then he gets something else in there, or like starts killing off my stuff. So it does work out. What else can I say about it? So yeah, there was that. And that's kind of the big one, is like knowing when to spread yourself out and knowing when to keep yourself boxed. In this case, it was spread yourself out because you have a ton of chaff stuff, and you could have set like, or he could have set his regiments up in a way that his Thunder Riders and Apex can hop over his Blooded, because all my stuff is size 2, hit a regiment, and then run the Blooded, or the next unit of Blooded, over the Thunder Rider or Apex to cover them, because then I have to kill Blooded, allows them to set up to get a charge into my horses. And then it comes down to like a supremacy roll, and I really, like, if it really comes down to like a supremacy roll, like other things were going wrong in the game. Because at every point in the game, I didn't feel like if I won or lost supremacy, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, it wasn't the dice roll that decided everything. So there was that. Things on my part, I probably could have moved that second unit of Ashen Dawn onto the left side of the table. Kind of gone in to help support that side and sweep it more. I kind of knew at the start of the game where his threats were, what were the Thunder Riders and the Apex. So I was kind of already thinking in my head, wherever he deploys those 2 regiments, I'm going to counter deploy with my Ashen Dawn. And because they both ended up on the same side of the table, I went for it. I wasn't really expecting Seal Temple to kill Thunder Riders, but they can just do it. But even then, if they killed 2 of them and left one of them at like low health, and that was the one guy fighting back, like, that's still a win in my books. Like, even though it's going to take another turn, it's still good. So I could have probably moved that second unit of Ashen Dawn onto the left side. I think I set up plenty of traps pretty well, and like kind of put them in really crappy positions. Mount Squires did a really good job just kind of getting in there and messing up the interior and gumming himself up on himself to like step on his own toes. If he was spread out more, he wouldn't have stepped on his own toes, but it would have taken a little longer for him to get into zones. But we did talk about that Horns of the Bull deployment, where you kind of just have a strong center what your opponent hits, and then you kind of flank around the side and get them in the side and envelop them. So doing that will help out a lot. I think I used fluid formation on the Seal Temple to like maneuver and get into nice spots to help myself out really well to kind of push and win the game. So yeah, not a huge ton for kind of like, you know, end game thoughts or talks. It's, you know, it's just kind of playing the game and looking at stuff and trying to find holes in your play. And it's hard to find holes in your play when you're winning, because you did well enough to win. So someone's got to beat me. I'll find someone. Maybe this weekend. I don't know when this game's coming out, but I'm hoping to play my local Dwight player this weekend and see how that goes. But with that, thank you for watching and listening. For plugs, BonkTable's got Discord. You can find that in the description below. BonkTable's got a podcast. We talk about a bunch of stuff. Things that should be coming out before this one comes out is probably the LVO interview. So if you haven't listened to that, it'd probably be fun. You'd probably like it. Dueling. Cass and I talk about dueling for like 2 and a bit hours. Actually, quite a good deep dive into it. I found, really enjoyed that episode. One of my favorites. What else? Cass has an Instagram, so if you want to follow her and I don't know, tell her to grab whatever goes up and post it out on Instagram. I won't do it. Yeah. What else? Oh, if you want to, like, I don't know, comment, like, and subscribe, there's that. I don't say that much because I'm kind of in the believer if you like this, you will do it yourself. You don't need to be told by me. But thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye!